Jim, I just read that Americans are spending about $20 billion a year just to try to go to the bathroom. And that number, I think it was over the next 5 years, that's supposed to go up pretty significantly.
Yeah,
What's
that's
the deal
crazy.
with that?
That's pretty heavy duty, right? That's
Well,
it's amazing. You know, constipation actually accounts for almost 2.5 million doctor visits a year, right? So you know, you might ask, well, what is constipation? Well, there is actually a definition, and it's typically defined as someone who's having less than 3 bowel movements a week.
It's not very much.
Yeah, but typically there's other symptoms though. You know, your stools are hard and dry, they're hard to pass. Sometimes you get some discomfort. You feel that sometimes you really haven't fully evacuated your bowels when you go to the bathroom. So typically there are symptoms involved.
Okay. So I want to know, like, what causes this? Like, what's happening?
Yeah, so there's a lot of things that can contribute to constipation. So there are a variety of some of them fairly serious underlying medical issues. So if you know, especially if you've had a recent change in your bowel habits where you've developed new onset constipation, definitely want to go see your doctor because you want to be sure it's, you know, about a thyroid problem or a neurologic problem or, you know, more important, something like colon cancer, which can obstruct the bowel. Yeah. So you certainly want to get that evaluated. Medications can cause it, particularly some of the opioid pain medications that we use after surgery.
I often hear, like, when people come out of surgery and they're on you know, high
dose
pain medicine.
That's exactly right. Some antidepressants as well. But the most important things have to do with lifestyle. So we know that eating too much dairy and cheese can increase the risk for constipation.
Yeah.
You know, for our bowels to work regularly, we need lots of water. We need lots of fiber. The fiber absorbs the water, which helps pass the stool through. And then exercise helps kind of keep when we go out for a jog, you're jostling around.
I was just going to say, it loosens everything up.
Exactly. So it kind of stimulates the nervous system of the bowel. So exercise, not enough fiber, not enough exercise, and not enough water are the most important causes.
Okay, so if somebody is truly constipated, so we know what that means now, what can happen from there?
Right. Well, besides the discomfort that we talked about in a minute, there are some medical issues that can arise. So one is hemorrhoids. Hemorrhoids are kind of like varicose veins around the anus, right? And so when you have to strain to push out the stool, that increases the pressure and causes those blood vessels to kind of expand and enlarge. And so it's like a varicose veins. And they can bleed and they can itch and cause pain, so not much fun. It also increases your risk for a condition called diverticulosis. So the colon is kind of a muscular, it's a hollow tube, and there's kind of 3 layers of muscle that help move stuff along. And in between those layers of muscle, sometimes when you're constipated, the pressure inside the colon can go up, and it can cause little pouches to form. Okay?
Well, that's how I actually have wondered what exactly that means.
And those are called diverticuli, and that's a disease of the Western world. We don't see it anywhere else because constipation is so prevalent here in the United States. Yeah. But what can happen is once you develop these pouches, sometimes you get a little plug of feces or some food that gets stuck in there, and it can get infected. And so that's called, you may have heard the term diverticulitis, where people have a fever and pain, and it's because one of these diverticuli are infected. And so you are at increased risk for those things. And then lastly, sometimes because it's the dry, hard stools can cause some cracking or tearing at the anus and cause some painful bleeding, and those are called anal fissures. And again, not much fun.
No, it doesn't sound like any fun. That's not a party.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so then what do we do about it?
Well, so there are some situations where laxatives might be in order. Again, really, before you do that, you want to talk to your doctor. The problem with laxatives, though, so laxatives work a couple different ways. So there's some laxatives that actually stimulate the nervous system of the colon to kind of move things along. And the problem is your colon can actually become dependent on it gets overstimulated with the laxatives, and then when you're not taking the laxatives, it just lays there quiet and you can't move things on, so you become almost dependent on them. So you certainly don't want to get in that situation.
Yeah.
There are other laxatives that help draw water into the colon and move them along, things like magnesium citrate. Some of the preparations, people have had a colonoscopy, you drink some stuff to help kind of clean things out. Those are osmotic laxatives. Osmotic just means it's drawing fluid into the colon.
To help move things through.
And those are okay.
Okay.
But the most important things you can do is, we already talked about it, exercise more, eat more fiber,
hydrate.
And hydrate, right? I mean, it's really just doing the things we need to be doing.
Okay, so you're talking about, we're talking about exercise, hydrate, fiber. That's my favorite F word, by the way.
Yeah, right.
So let's talk about fiber for a minute. Where are we
Sure.
going to find it?
Yeah, sure. So fiber is the is the part of it. Only comes from plants, first of all,
Yeah.
and it makes up some of the plant cell walls. And there's different kinds of fiber. There's what we call soluble fiber, and that's fiber that actually absorbs water and forms kind of a gel-like. It becomes kind of gel-like, and that'll help us feel full. That soluble fiber actually also helps improve the bacteria that live in our gut. That's probably a whole nother episode sometime.
Yeah.
It's been shown to lower the risk for things like, diabetes and heart disease and things like that. Insoluble fiber, and so soluble fiber typically gets fermented by gut bacteria. Insoluble fiber is much more kind of inert, and it doesn't get highly processed. But that's what really draws that water in, and it's insoluble fiber that actually has been shown to help with the constipation, lower the risk for colon cancer in particular.
And because that pushes things
Right,
out, because
exactly.
it doesn't
It's
become
pulling,
gelatinous.
It's pulling the water in and moving things along.
Got it.
And most common foods have a mix of soluble and insoluble fiber, right? So you don't. There's not one food. Some foods you need to eat to get soluble fiber, and another set of foods to get insoluble fiber. For example, kale. Now, kale, any green leafy vegetable has fiber. Now, a lot of people have a misconception that if I'm eating a lot of salads and greens, I'm getting plenty of fiber. Now, there is fiber, but a cup of kale really only has a couple grams of fiber, which is good, right? But it's not a ton, right?
Right.
So
It's
you gotta-
nutrient dense,
yeah,
but not like super high
exactly,
fiber.
So you've got to add stuff to that, right? So here we have quinoa. Quinoa has about 4 or 5 grams of fiber per serving. This is farro. Farro's you know more about this than I do.
Yeah, it's almost like a puffed rice.
Right.
It's an ancient grain.
Right.
And it's you'll probably find it in any grocery store.
Sure,
It's
sure.
not too expensive. I mean, it's actually pretty inexpensive.
Right. And this is and you cook it up like you would rice or any other kind of a grain, right?
But just look at the package.
No, but you'd use it in the same situations.
right.
Right, gotcha.
Yeah.
This has about 7-8 grams of fiber. Avocados, great source of fiber. Depending on how big the pit is and how big the avocado, this is 7 to 10 grams actually.
Yeah. Yay! Surprise.
Yeah. Almonds, another great source of fiber. Right? About 13 grams per serving.
Yeah.
The king of the hill, not only for fiber but also for protein, are legumes. Lentils.
Bring on the lentils.
Yeah, 1 cup of lentils has about 16 grams of fiber. Now, here's the deal. The average person in the United States get 10 to 15 grams of fiber a day.
Can you imagine
Right?
if everybody just had 1 cup of lentils?
Right, that's more. That is 1 cup of lentils is the average amount of fiber the typical American gets in the whole day, right? So you can see that when we combine all these things, right? Say you have a salad that's got some quinoa and some lentils and maybe some almonds and some blueberries and some carrots and
A
all
little bit
that.
of avocado on there.
Right. I mean, all of a sudden you're getting 20, 30, 25, 30 grams of fiber just in that one meal. And that's
Yeah.
about what we need. We need about 30 to 40 grams of fiber a day. Maybe some people, there's some controversy about that. I think probably people need more fiber than that. I think 50, 60 is nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But long ways away from the 10 or 15 that most people get.
Right. Yeah. So
Yeah.
you think about what people are eating then. Like,
Right. Well, exactly. That's exactly right.
All right. So we know how easy it is to get enough fiber, more than probably enough fiber that we need, or lots
Right.
of fiber.
That's right.
So you mentioned legumes. I have a black bean recipe that is super quick, full of fiber, and you are going to love it.
Full of flavor too. I hope.
Full of flavor and full of fiber.
All right. That's your two favorite.
That's my two favorite F words, yeah. All right, we're going to get cooking.
All right.
Even if you are a takeout king or queen, this recipe is so incredibly easy, and it'll get you back on the throne. Ready?
Let's do it.
Okay. Now this is a high fiber black bean, simple recipe. Okay, we are going to just heat up our saucepan, and again
And you're
we're
using
using
your induction again,
Well,
right?
I cannot emphasize enough how much I love this thing. It's a quick, easy, safe heating element.
yeah.
You can, if I had a kid in college, they'd be taking it with them.
Yeah.
I use this usually during the
Yeah, if
holidays.
you need an extra burner, right?
For an
That makes
extra
total
burner.
sense.
Yeah. So
Well, I
this
can
thing is
tell you,
great.
when I was in college or medical school, I sure wish I had one of these in my
You can
dorm
cook
room,
anywhere.
I'll tell you, right?
Tailgating.
Right. There we go.
Okay, so we've got a nice hot pan here. Now Jim, if you'll go ahead and dump in, this is 1 can of black beans that I have drained and rinsed. And 1 can is 1.5 cups, just 14 ounces. So that's gonna get nice and warm pretty soon. And then we have some spices here. Do any spice you want, it's totally fine, but I'm choosing to use cumin.
Smoked paprika.
I'm
That's
sorry,
the
smoked
key.
paprika.
Yeah, that's the key.
I
right
love
there.
that smokiness. And there's just a pinch of salt and some pepper in here. Again, do what you want. It's totally up to you.
And by the way, rinsing the beans is a good idea, especially if you're kind of new to, if you're trying to get more fiber in your diet, you're not quite used to eating a lot of fiber. Some people will complain of a lot of gas when they first start to introduce more beans.
Right.
And what happens with gas? It's not a bean problem; it's a gut bacteria problem.
Yeah.
And there's what are called oligosaccharides, or sugars that are actually in the can with the beans and on the skin of the beans. And when you rinse that off, you take away some of those sugars. And when you rinse those sugars off, they're not able to be fermented by gut bacteria down the road. And so that's what causes the bloatiness and gassiness. But the good news is, we talked earlier that especially the soluble fiber feeds healthy gut bacteria. The more fiber you eat, after a few weeks, guess what?
Your body gets used to it.
Exactly. All that bloatiness and gassiness goes away. So don't be scared of the bean. Beans the magical fruit.
Yes.
It's a true statement. But I promise you, it will get better. Right?
Yeah, and by the way, so black beans, both lentils and black beans, are really kind of a nice gateway bean, if you will, because they have a very thin skin.
Yeah.
So your body isn't really trying too hard to break that down.
Right.
But then also, wait for it, we are going to be doing a little bit of work for your tummy, because we're going to be blending this.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay,
that's right.
so our beans are getting nice and soft. And I put the spices in there so that they start to toast and really
I can
open
smell.
up.
It's like unbelievable. So what's next? You want the salsa?
Yeah, so I'm going to put in anywhere between 3/4 cup and a cup of salsa, your favorite salsa. And listen, I know that in our show notes, we're going to have the recipe if you want to really stick with that. But if you want to put in a hot salsa, if you want to put in a little bit more salsa, you need more of like the tomatoey flavor.
Right.
This is totally up to you. But this is how easy this recipe is. So we are not sauteing any vegetables, anything like that. All of those vegetables are in your salsa.
Right.
So this is.
I was wondering about that when I saw that. I said, "Where's the onions?" and stuff?
Right.
Well, they're in the salsa.
Yep.
Like duh. Right.
Yep.
Oh, that's I mean, what a great shortcut that is, right?
No, this is again so the college. So take this, take your induction burner with you to college, and this recipe.
Yeah,
so
that's
easy.
Amazing. That's amazing.
And you can find this this burner in our Amazon plant-based store. Okay, so and I've even you can see on the bottom of this pan, I have already deglazed. There's no more. There was just a little bit of browning from the toasted spices, and I pulled all that up with the salsa one in there.
Right,
so
right.
everything is incorporated. This is going to be so flavorful.
And by the
so
way, one thing I did not notice go in that pan first
no oil.
was oil, right?
No oil. No oil needed.
Right.
Now we're going to add in some vegetable broth, and again, this can be a cup, 2 cups. It really it's totally up to you. But that's about 1.5 cups that I've added.
Yeah. So just another quick thing about the fiber. Back to that.
Yeah.
You do have to kind of train your gut, right? And so if you're new to this, and if your body's only getting 10, 15 grams of fiber, that's what it's used to, and you dump 40, 50 grams of fiber, you're not going to be very happy.
Ouch.
So just like if you decide to run a marathon, you don't go out and run 10, 20 miles the first day. You ease into it and slowly build. It's the same kind of thing. You have a great fiber formula that you use, right?
Well,
to help people kind of navigate this, introducing more fiber to that.
Can
So
I
tell
just
us about
say
that. Yes.
2 things, though? And this is what I talk about. We actually both talk about in our classes here at the Center for Plant-Based Living.
Yeah.
So one thing is, and just kind of, piggybacking on your marathon. If you are going to the gym, let's say it's the beginning of the year, whatever, it's January, who knows, and you're getting back into the gym, you haven't been there in a few months, and then really work out hard, and the next day you wake up and you're like, oh, you can hardly walk.
Right.
You don't think, well, nope, can't go back to the gym.
Well, some people do.
Well, some people do. But, there's people who think, oh, I really did a good workout yesterday because I hurt, right? I really worked myself out. But then if somebody adds a lot of fiber to their diet, lots of plants, whatever, lots of beans, and they have a stomach ache, and they think, oh, I shouldn't be eating
Right.
that.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So that's just a sign that your body's
Working hard.
And just like with exercise, a week from now when you do that same workout, guess what? You're not going to get sore.
Yes, yes.
A week from now when you eat that same fiber, you're not going to... that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, so if
I
you
like
do
that
have
analogy. I
a
like that
tummy
analogy.
ache or a
Yeah.
little bit of bloating, it's
Makes
okay.
sense.
Your body's just working.
Yeah,
It's
makes
doing a good
sense.
job.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the fiber formula, real quick, and this is what I use with a lot of clients to easily stair-step them up to that 40, 50 grams a day eventually. Add 10 grams of fiber every single day per week. And you can do that over the course of a month. So week 1, make sure you're getting 10 grams a day. Easy enough to do. Second week, 2 grams. Third week, and then so on.
20 grams, you mean. And the second week would be 20 grams.
Right. Yeah,
And
but you're
30
adding
grams.
10 each.
Yeah, I got it.
So in your third week, you are eating 30 grams of
Right.
fiber a day. Your
Right.
fourth week, you're eating 40
40,
grams of fiber a day.
Right.
So you're stair-stepping up
Right.
all inside of 1 month.
Right, and getting that extra 10 grams of fiber a day is like nothing, right? It's just like adding a handful of beans to your salad. We've already kind of talked about some
Yeah.
easy ways to do that.
Easy enough.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So I think it's nearly
Yeah,
time
time
to,
to-
eat.
Right,
Now,
we got to do the special. We
Yeah.
got to do the transform it. Let's just say.
so one of my favorite kitchen tools is an immersion blender. And first of all, this thing comes apart for easy cleaning, and then you just wrap the cord around it and put it into a drawer. So it's really tiny, and it's easily, you can take it on, when you go on vacation. It will not. It will not. So a lot of soups, a lot of blended soups in the recipes will say take out half of the contents, put it into a blender.
You don't need to do that.
You don't need to do that.
No.
You want to take this guy, put it right in your pan. I'm going to turn down so we don't have a boil. We're going to unlock it with one finger and blend with the other.
There we go. Look at that. And so, you mentioned earlier that this is another thing you do to kind of help your digestion, because what's actually happening is we're mechanically pre-digesting, if you will, some of that fiber.
Right.
So we're doing some of the work that our gut and those gut bacteria might have to do. So this is a way to make some of this fiber more tolerable by, again, kind of pre-digesting some of the fiber by using the immersion blender. And I use mine all the time as well. And the nice thing about it, you can get it kind of as chunky as you want, right? You want a chunky soup, you want it perfectly smooth, either way.
Yeah, it is really nice because you don't have to do a full blend on it.
Right.
Okay, so one thing I want to add to this. So we have about, per serving here, because we're splitting it in half, 7, 8, 9, 10, like 12, 13, 14 grams of fiber
Right.
per.
A little bit more, yeah.
Yeah, and then so you were just saying earlier that an avocado, anywhere between 7 and 10
Right.
grams of fiber per,
Right.
depending on the size of the pit. So let's see what we have in here. It's always a surprise, isn't it?
Don't you love it when you get one like that with the perfect small pit? Yeah, it's like you hit the jackpot,
I mean, there's no way we could have known that. Absolutely no way we could have known that.
That's like the avocado jackpot,
It
right?
is. Oh my gosh. So then just take your knife and give it a nice little boop, boop, and there you
Well,
go.
how do you do it?
Boop, boop, boop.
So, yeah, I mean, don't you hate it when you get this beautiful ripe avocado, you open up and like most of it's the pit,
It's
right?
all pit,
You're like, that's
which
really,
is the pits.
You stole my line. Come on now. So,
God, we are so cheesy.
I know.
Okay, so if you want to do the honors,
all
please.
right, let's ladle this up.
And I'm going to get a little bit of cilantro on there too. Take the pit out. Rub it down.
So yummy. It smells so good too. That smoked paprika
Ah, I love
is
it.
just amazing.
So I would probably put some hot sauce in there also. Just
Yeah, me too,
because
me too.
I like hot sauce on a lot of things, most things.
That sauce is good for you.
Yeah.
The capsaicin that makes it hot is anti-inflammatory. It's antibacterial. Helps fight cancer. There's a lot of reasons to eat hot sauce. Besides, it just makes you
tasty.
Well, it's in that sweat, you know.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't it like up your metabolism if
It
you're
does,
sweating?
It does.
All right, so I'm just going to give us each half of this avocado
Yeah. But still, that's like 4 or 5 grams of fiber.
because
right?
the pit was so small.
Right.
And then I will give you a little bit of cilantro and a little bit of cilantro. See how easy this was?
Now, you're not one of those people that tastes soap when you eat cilantro, right?
No, and I know you're not either.
I know. There are some people that can't eat cilantro because it's a genetic thing.
Yeah.
That cilantro tastes like soap, and it's it's
a raw deal.
Yeah, I never knew that, and someone said I made a dinner for some friends one night, and I said, well, I can't really eat that cilantro. It tastes like soap. I mean, what are you talking about? And I went and read about it, and it's not that uncommon actually.
Yeah.
Anyway, enough of soap. Let's get to let's get to the food here.
I'm hungry.
All right, let's dig in.
It's a little
hot.
Yeah. But I want to get some of that avocado in there also. Smokiness, tomatoiness, avocado, lots of
God.
fiber.
That's unbelievable. How much flavor is it out of such a simple recipe?
Oh my God, so good.
I know.
Every time.
Every
time.
All
Okay.
right.
All right. Well, until next time, I'm just going to start. I'm just keep eating. Easy peasy.